4 years ago, my wife and I bought the perfect house. The only problem is that 2 years later, we realized it was too small. And so we began a journey of building a second floor on top of the house we're already living in. Today, we see the start of that. And also, you get to see me jump into several DIY projects that I never planned on. Let's get started. Alright, so if you haven't watched my first video, you really should because it explains what's happening. But here's a short recap. We are putting a second floor on top of our house. And today's video is all about the beginning of that. And we are jumping right in. We got our one big snow for the year a couple days before this all started. So I took my drone out and got one last shot of the house, before the workers arrived. And it was still very snowy when they got there, but that did not stop them from immediately beginning to rip the roof off. I'm going to go ahead and let our architect, Clint here, explain what's happening.
What we're doing is cutting off the overhang basically so that we can build a wall straight up on top of this existing wall. We've made a big hole in your roof and we're trying to keep it outside of the building envelope. We're leaving the roof on and we're going to build the wall on top of the existing roof. And so right now what we're doing is blocking in between all of the roof joists, because the roof joists are what's holding up the roof, and we're going to set the new plate on top of the roof joist basically, and on top of the blocking, so that load will be transferred down to the existing walls. And we're going to go all the way around the house and do that, and then we'll build our walls up on top of it, because the goal with this whole project is to build new walls around the outside and a new roof without taking off the old roof, so that we don't have water coming in your house.
This project is brought to you by Lowe's. No, it's not sponsored. I just really wanted to show this part because I never realized how much building material goes into putting a second floor in. My yard became a lumber store, and this is only part of what they were delivering. So yeah, all this is going into my house. All right, this part's not important to the build, but look at the clouds. I got a really lucky accidental illusion as I did the zoom on it.
And you already said we're on what plan? Version 4 of the plan a little bit?
Yeah, version 4A-3 from what we originally started with, because it's an evolution. Whenever you do a remodel, you're always finding maybe a better idea, or thinking of things when you actually tear into it and you find out what the situation is.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is a bit of a discussion we had about how on earth you stick a wall on a roof. And what it comes down to is basically, do you keep the roof slope underneath your wall, or do you cut the roof down? And long story short, you can see what we chose. And long story short, also, it cost us an entire day of work to figure this out. The next day, we got back on schedule, and they started putting in these LVLs here. And these things are basically the foundation for everything that's happening on the second floor. You're going to see them a ton throughout this entire build.
But the front of the house, you're not actually cutting the roof off,
right,
like you did on this one. That one's just going to be, I guess, just putting the plate on top, and we'll kind of see what
right,
like.
Right. When we originally talked, we were going to have to cut off. We thought we were going to have to cut off the roof and rebuild, but we don't see any reason to do that right now. And so, yeah, you're going to have
that pony wall already on the inside.
Right. And we're gonna brace that pony wall up underneath to support this new wall up above.
Okay, so if you've made it this far and you're confused about what's happening, that's okay, because I was confused as I watched him working. But what's happening now is all of that work before was basically setting the foundation for the second floor walls that you see them now building. These second floor walls are being built into my roof. Right now you can see them going into the attic through the roof, or they're being built directly on top of the roof that's already there. And so this here is how my roof became the foundation for the second floor. It also means that for the rest of this house's life, it's going to have bits of the roof hiding in the second floor walls. So that'll be kind of fun to see when we get to that part of the construction. This really is a DIY channel, I promise. The work you see on the main part of the house, yeah, that's too much for me. But here in the back, we have some new foundation I need to get poured for the larger porch that we're going to have, as well as footings for some new pillars. And this right here means I get to do something I've never done before, which is concrete work. And so I'm going to get all of it wrong, pretty much completely. I didn't mess this part up, but I mean, it's digging, so how hard is that really? And here I am wasting a lot of time not knowing how to manage my tools and generally being clumsy while doing a lot of work that very shortly I'm going to have to undo again. The DIY life, y'all. It's, you win and you lose. I gotta say, at the time, I was actually really proud of these forms. I mean, they are straight, level, and you know, I put a lot of work into them. These holes, however, that were gonna hold up the new columns for the house, they were just a pain in the butt. It took forever. The soil here is basically concrete if it's dry, and so it's not fun to work with. Another day down, and all I have to show for it are 2 holes. This stuff takes forever. Then came the moment of reckoning, where the architect who's been working with the house came and inspected my work. It didn't go well.
Well, today I learned why you should listen to contractors and do things the way they do.
So do you want to know what I think, or do you want me to tell you did a really good job?
Like how they build concrete forms.
These forms are probably not strong enough.
All right, so this was my original plan, as you saw. Doesn't really hold up well. And
That's just going to get you laughed at, you know, when you have cookouts. That's all there is. All there is to it.
part of the issue is that it actually just wanted to bend because it rained. It does highlight just how ineffective these spikes can be, these stakes can be. So I'm going to go ahead and do this the right way now.
We talked about kind of what we would do is have, at a minimum, have a 2x4 form. So it'd be a 2x4 like this. And then we would have use 2 stakes, and we would put them out here, 2 stakes, and then screw the 2x4 into it. And then we push and pull this form to line up with our string line.
I really admire the diplomatic way he told me I did it all wrong and was kind of dumb. But as you can see, I then went and fixed the whole thing, and yeah, it took a long time, a really, really long time to get this done. Well, that's what I get for not paying professionals. So I actually am paying professionals just, to put up my wall. And as you can see, they are doing a far better job of that than I ever would have. And way faster. All right, let's talk structure for a minute. The pillars, columns, whatever you want to say, that they're raising right now, these are some of the most critical pieces of this entire build. They are going to be holding the new roof up over my current roof. This will make a lot more sense as the project continues on, but right now, these are kind of a genius solution to the whole house over a house kind of problem we're working on here. Also, the way that they are putting this up is literally saving me from tearing out most of the walls in my downstairs. The LVLs that you see these columns being placed on are spreading out the roof weight that's going to go above over a wider distance, and that means I don't have to reinforce the downstairs, and it is saving so much time, trouble, so much everything in this whole process by keeping the work really above where we live and not in the living space down below. A drawback of the columns is that it forced the builders to do what's called stick framing, which means they have to individually cut and place each piece along the way to get the walls up. This is definitely the slower way to build a house, but I will say I am still impressed with how quickly they were able to get through and build these walls. And I was able to start getting some really cool views of the house as they were working on it. It only took them a day to frame out this side of the house. And after that first side, it took them just one more day to get the other side of the house done as well. The only thing left to do now was to throw the OSB up on the walls and get them waterproofed. And let's talk waterproofing for a second, because this is something they stopped at the end of every single day to do. And it added so much time to the work. But I stopped complaining when I thought about the fact that, the one day that they might forget it would just happen to be the one day that it might rain. Yeah, so update, my back porch got ripped off, and here I am getting ready to go ahead and put the rebar down so we can get this new concrete poured. But along the way, I ran into, well, a bit of a side quest, distraction. Yeah, projects always grow. And like this one right here, I went ahead and cleared off the patio, and look at that, see that right there? This little sprinkler head that I now have to move. I totally forgot about it. Well, it's time to remember it and dig it up. I probably didn't have to dig this up. I could have just left the sprinkler head there, but I needed to know where it was connected to, because yeah, that's the side project. I'm gonna have to redo my sprinkler system now that I have changed the layout of my patio. So yeah, I actually did need to dig this out just so I could figure out where the sprinkler lines are. Fortunately, this side quest only cost me a couple hours today, but I know it's gonna be several days of work later. But that's future me's problem. So while you weren't looking, there was a minor change for the porch plans. See, originally I was just going to be pouring concrete on this green section, but we really needed to cover all of the porch. And so what you didn't see was some work getting done to rip off the old porch, and now we're prepping the entire area for a concrete. And it needs to be ready by tomorrow. So here we go. We're going to speed run how to rebar for concrete.
Okay, so pop the hook over, put the hook through, and then get the hook past the loop onto the wires, and then I'm kind of going side to side too, again making sure that the twist is down at the rebar. Boom. It's better than last time.
I I ended up with several pieces of rebar that needed to get bent, and I have no interest in buying a special tool for one project. So instead, I got 2 pieces of iron pipe and used those for leverage to make the bends in it, and it worked out really well.
1/2-inch rebar is a lot harder to bend than 3/4, but then 3/8, not 3/4.
This hack using pipes is effective, but it does not make things easy.
Every one of these, and if it's not perfect, guess what? I'm burying it in concrete so no one will ever know. I have to make more shapes after this. I gotta do.
And I spent most of the time complaining.
16 more bends after these 8.
Isn't that cool?
A lot, actually.
No, it's not cool. It's not cool at all.
How would you think that was cool? Ah.
I'll save you the trouble learning this lesson, but the pipe trick does have one major flaw. It's not good if you're doing more than one bend in the rebar. Then you're left with brute force and a whole lot of angry grunting.
That is the most perfect bar I've ever bent. Look at that. It's the exact square. This is why we bury things in concrete, so we never have to see them again.
This is one of the pier holes I dug for the new porch columns. The things are 3 feet deep.
Okay, let's do it again.
Then I settled in for a long, long night of rebar work. I think we can fast forward through the rest of this.
Well, I guess styrofoam was not appropriate for holding up rebar, and it has now been replaced by bricks. Otherwise, here we go. Let's get this poured.
The truth about projects is they almost never start as big as they become. And that's because the further into a project you go, the more you realize there are things that you need to do that you are going to do later, but now you have to do them now. Like this fence. I can't continue this project until it's gone. So it wasn't in the plan, but now I'm gonna rip out the fence.
So why add this bit at the end of the video? The short answer is putting this fence back together has cost an extra month of work that I was not planning on. And I guess that's just how projects go. Yep, and the reason it had to get torn out was because I needed to build forms for one more part of the concrete pour for the AC unit that's going on the side of my house. The reason it's so dark in this shot is that I had to stay up until about midnight, maybe 2 a.m., I don't remember, because I had the concrete coming in the morning, and, well, I was just that far behind. But hey, what do they say? When you only have a minute to do a thing, it only takes a minute to get it done? It took way more than a minute, but I got it done. And so in the next video, I get a porch. And I get more LVLs than I thought you could possibly fit into a house. And so much more. Stay tuned.
So yeah, you're going to have this weird looking house with an existing roof on it, and then you're going to have walls all the way around it framed out, so you're going to be able to see behind the walls and see this roof through the process, and then it's going to look really cool when we have a new roof on top of that with the old roof underneath. That's going to be a cool thing to see happen.